What is going on, everybody? It is Box from Twitch and Box Sports Talk here. Sorry for the shorter episode this week. Had some technical difficulties, lost our main content of what made us Twitch, and a recap of the games and our question of the week and stuff. But I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving weekend. Next week, be on the lookout for a full episode and the state of the team separately. But hope everybody has a great week, and please enjoy our picks this week.
All right, so let's look at our Thanksgiving week games going on here. Best games, I think, all week, back to back to back, are on Thanksgiving for a change. This is great news. I'm excited about this first one at noon, about the time that turkey's coming off the smoker. We have the Packers at the Lions. What do you think, Box?
I think this would be a good game. Both defenses are really good. Like we've said, or the Lions' defense is improving. Obviously, they took a step back, losing their defensive coordinator, who's now the Jets' head coach, which a dumpster fire that is out there. But I think the Lions get it done in this one. I've said this all year about the Lions or the Packers' offense, but it's the best worst team in the league, and we've seen obviously Jahmyr Gibbs have crazy games all year, and it's in Detroit, and Jared Goff is not going to lose you the game, even when he throws. 4 interceptions last year against the Texans. Like, he still didn't lose you the game somehow. So I think the Lions get it done to open up Thanksgiving there at noon.
That's definitely the most traditional of the Thanksgiving games of the three that we've got. Yeah. What's your take, Twitch?
I've got the Lions as well. The Packers starting off the year red hot and dominating that defense. Micah Parsons, I feel like they rode that momentum. And I'm all it's week to week with Detroit. 1 week, they obviously turned it on at the end of last week.
Yeah,
I said, but when they're on there, I feel like they're as good as anybody, at least on the NFC offensively, and they can get the pressure in the pass rush. So with Green Bay winning the first game and with them having identical records or within a game of each other, I feel like Detroit holds serve and takes care of the business at their home turf, gets revenge on them. I agree with you, Greg. I feel like the best games of the week are the very best games of the entire week are the 2 first Thanksgiving Day games, which we talked about before. But just traditionally, like, we obviously have this podcast, we're all big football fans. I said, but back in the day when Detroit was irrelevant, you'd kind of watch football, it'd be on the background just because it's on. It's
football,
right? But I feel like this year it's obviously with Detroit being relevant, that's a big part of it. But just the 2 best games of the weekend being this one, and I feel like the Kansas City-Dallas game. But anyway, I like Detroit too. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, it used to be you'd go watch the first half, and then everybody go out in the yard and toss the pigskin around with their uncles and stuff like that. That was a lot of my memories as a kid, because the game outside with everybody's drunk uncles was definitely better than watching the game on TV.
Right.
Watching the Lions.
But that's a traditional Packers-Lions Thanksgiving. I'm excited. I'm going to have every game on and rolling for sure. Definitely excited about Kansas City versus the Cowboys. I don't like the fact that it's in Dallas, but what's your take here? I see a split.
I feel like this game could definitely go either way. Cowboys offense is high rolling. Obviously, George Pickens having the crazy week he has last week. CeeDee Lamb still out there. Jake Ferguson, Javonte Williams being good counter pieces to that wide receiver combo. But Kansas City shut down Jonathan Taylor and the Colts offense last week, getting that overtime win. So I think Kansas City can get it done again. It's going to obviously be a taller task. But this is Mahomes on national TV. And most times, or more than likely, Mahomes has always stepped up to the plate when it comes to national, like big-time, primetime games like this. He's always put on a show, and I think that the Dallas defense will struggle to stop Mahomes in that era of, hey, I'm the guy. Like, there's external pressure on Mahomes in this game, and I think he's learned to live with that. And obviously, giving Kareem Hunt 30 carries last week, I think this week they'll try to do about the same thing. They might try to split it up between him and a couple of the other running backs, but I still think pound the rock so the Cowboys' explosive offense can't touch it. Spags will obviously come up with blitzes and defenses to take away Pickens, and they're going to try to make somebody else beat them than Pickens and Lamb.
And I think this is part of what we might have lost earlier in the recording, so I'm going to throw this back out there in case it was. But I think it's time of possession is going to be a big deal for this. I said 35, 40 minutes. If you hold on to the ball that period of time for the Chiefs, I think you get it done. Run the ball, go back to that, on the time of possession. Keep the offensive weapons that Dak Prescott has to throw to off the field because although inconsistent from week to week, they're more consistent with that offense than what Kansas City's been. So run the ball. What do you got there, Twitch?
This is a tough one for me because it's like
It's not tough. You put Cowboys down. I see it right here in front of me.
it was anticlimactic. It was building up to it. Jeez. But no, I was just we've been talking about all year. I said I haven't jumped off the Chiefs bandwagon as far as still making the playoffs because I trust 15. So it's hard to believe still making a playoff push and then them taking this late season of a loss. Hopefully it's the last one I see them having the rest of the way. Hopefully, but I just feel like to your point, I think that's going to be the biggest key of the game, like you said about the time of possession and running the football, because obviously losing a guy like Micah Parsons and Dallas struggling other than the last couple of weeks on defense, they don't typically get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So you cannot just let Patrick Mahomes sit back there and give him all sorts of time. And how do you do that? How do you free up the time? Is by running the football. So taking advantage of what most of the season has been a subpar Dallas defense. Because I just feel like Kansas City's defense is good enough. On the flip side, like Dallas's offense is good enough. I just feel like Dallas is going to finish with 17 to 20 points already. So now it's basically how many points you think Kansas City is going to put up is what I think.
Does anybody know the over/under on that game?
Well, I'll look it up real quick. It has to be crazy though.
But
probably at high 50s, if not 60s.
It's just crazy because, like you said, the season on the line. Or not the season this week as much, but.
Well, it definitely has
season on the line.
Yeah, season on the line. It's there.
Yeah, but they're not out of it, obviously. But even with such a meaningful game for both, and Patrick Mahomes, like you just kind of always give him the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
I'm actually going with Dallas because I can't get past the momentum and Dallas actually being the surprise team and how good they are on offense. And most other times I pick Kansas City, but by timing, short week, I just feel like Kansas City's offense has struggled. And the way that they beat Philadelphia, I think it's going to be down the wire. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I don't know the last time this year.
You're wrong too.
Right? But I don't know the last time other than like the Cowboys, Cardinals, or something like that I picked the Cowboys in a meaningful game. But I just feel like being in Dallas and that momentum and the way Kansas City has not really, I mean, they've been a good team, but they're not a great team. And so like with the team, like same thing with Dallas, I feel like Dallas finds a way. It's kind of like their Super Bowl. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but Dak Prescott, gets his chance to have the ball late. That's his Super Bowl, and I feel like that's what's going to happen. Honestly,
I'm going to have to get that little quick turkey nap in before that game.
Yeah.
If the turkey will kick in, I'm going to give me 30 minutes, and then let's get up and watch this game.
And I just think, and again, we talked about it. I don't know if that was already cut off on what we talked about earlier. But again, I don't feel like Kansas City has really faced the kind of caliber wide receivers that Dallas has. I mean, they lost to the Jaguars. They beat a good Colts team. All these teams that Kansas City's play, like even St. Brown, and Williams are good for Detroit, but they're not number one guys. And so, they haven't seen somebody of that caliber, let alone two guys plus a good tight end. Like the passing, yeah, you have Josh Allen, who's a great quarterback, but the same thing. Like who's his wide receivers? So, and they lost that game. Yep. So, and giving up chunk plays. Well, nobody over the last 4 years has a better chunk play receiver than George Pickens.
Who did Pickens used to play for?
Was he
a Seahawk?
Yeah, no. Oh wait, he was a Steeler.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll make sure I tell that joke about 6:25 on Thursday.
Yeah, drop that in the group chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And power through that game because the night game to me is still exciting because we have Joe Burrow supposedly coming back, playing in Baltimore against the Ravens. Take that one, Twitch.
That one's easy. It's going to be Baltimore. I mean, even if Joe Burrow comes back, you figure that, yeah, they get chased back after the suspension. Their offense has still been clicking. Had their chances even last week against the Patriots. But the Ravens have won 5 straight. I feel like they're just going to continue to roll, taking care of this easy stretch of the schedule for them. And it's in Baltimore, short week. division rivalry. Baltimore still, even with Joe Burrow, has pretty much owned that rivalry. So, yeah, all the way. Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that the Bengals get the upset here over the Ravens on Thursday Night Football primetime. I think Joe Burrow's been sitting. Yeah, I definitely wrote the Ravens down earlier. I was thinking about, I was like, Joe Burrow coming back. He's definitely coming back for his villain arc. He plays the Ravens twice in 3 weeks here.
I was gonna take the Bengals on
He
that.
plays-
I don't weigh in on all of them, but I was gonna say if you guys both take the Ravens, I'm gonna take the Bengals on that because I do feel like he's gonna come back. The only reason he's coming back to play is it's
Especially
personal.
this early. It's like, yeah, I'm going to ruin the Ravens season.
Absolutely.
What are they going to ruin, though? Let's be real. What are they going to ruin? Who's catching them? Not Cincinnati, even if they
No.
not Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's going to win it.
That's what's gonna keep Pittsburgh in the
Even if
conversation.
Cincinnati beats them both times, which isn't going to happen. Even if they beat them both times, like you still have to have Pittsburgh win 3 or 4 more games.
How
They got
cool
this.
would it be to get a Steelers fan on this podcast?
But I think the Bengals get it done. The Bengals' defense is still crap, but Lamar Jackson is not back to where he's been. Obviously, we saw that last week. He's not running around making the crazy Lamar Jackson-esque plays that we've seen in the past. Derrick Henry hasn't really been rolling, which obviously you could get it rolling on Thanksgiving, but I think Joe Burrow coming back on that offense will be enough to get it done against the Ravens. I think it's kind of stuns the Ravens and it sets them up for a run down the stretch here.
This is all good news for you, Twitch.
This is the
I don't
Steelers
believe-
getting the
Doesn't
back
believe
door
in
of the
Santa
playoffs.
Claus and doesn't believe in Joe Burrow. So,
No, whoa!
No,
That's
he believes
not-
in Joe Burrow.
No,
he doesn't
so
believe
I
in the
hate
Steelers.
I hate the Bengals. I said, I've gone on this podcast and
Very
said
much
that
so.
I've been
A Joe Burrow guy.
yeah, he's a stud. Like, when he's been healthy, I'll put him. I know I'm in the minority
Shane
there.
Falco. I've
Over
heard that name for years.
over Lamar Jackson or even Josh Allen. Like multiple MVP Josh. Yeah, like and Burrow's the only one that beat those.
Yeah.
But this late in the year, missing that much time, missing a wide receiver, short week in Baltimore.
he's fresh.
I'm just telling you. If he comes out and plays, like if he comes out and they start clicking, because I did hear reports last week that he came out to practice, was a full participant, and tore it up in practice. Looked like old Joe Burrow. But I feel like Baltimore's red hot, and you guys are forgetting one other thing. The reason why the Bengals are 3-8 is not because of Joe Burrow being hurt. Joe Flacco's played great. They still have a shit defense.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, last time I checked, didn't play defense. So
Yeah.
It's the aura, man.
Yeah.
It's the aura. He's going to roll it
Yeah.
over there.
Believe. All right, so that's going to be a great Thanksgiving. Do we have a Friday game?
Yeah.
we do have a Friday.
Bears and Eagles. Okay.
Bears.
So this is the game of the week then.
The game of the week, Black Friday game at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for all you people that will be hanging out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's on Amazon Prime as well, so got to jump through a couple hoops to be able to watch this game.
I did order some stuff and got Amazon Prime. By the way, this week I got stuff for the hot tub.
Got it, so
Yeah, give it to
good
me
to go.
tomorrow. Give me some Amazon Prime.
A heavyweight division or heavyweight game here that really wouldn't have thought of. Both teams at 8-3. Made LSV happy this week, sending him a different, other than Panthers and Chiefs, John Daly, Tiger Woods smoking cigarettes meme, because they both have the same record, and the Bears have done it in a very interesting way compared to the Eagles.
That's crazy.
And so in this game, I have the Bears. I think the Eagles, obviously, watch them drop 24 points in the second half there against the Cowboys with an explosive offense. And I think the Bears, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and that team have been clicking, kind of dicing up that Steelers defense last week. Caleb Williams has looked phenomenal, way better than he did last year. He's kind of forming into that warranted first overall pick across the board. So I'm excited for this game. I think this will be a good game. There'll be some talk about it at the end here, but there'll be some college football games on at the same time, so might just be kind of clicking back and forth from this one, even though it's on Amazon Prime. But I'm interested to see how this game turns out, because this is I'm not saying it's make or break, so it'll drop the Eagles to 8-4, so I mean they can still easily make the playoffs and win the division. But this is kind of a test for both teams. This just shows are the Bears real? Can they hang with the top contenders and the big dogs in the NFC? And this is kind of the Eagles. Are you going to hang with the big dogs in the NFC this year? Or are you kind of a team that's going to make the playoffs but kind of have a dud when you finally get in? So I like the Bears in this one though.
No, we've talked about that the last couple months, month and a half. Is in Chicago. I mean, whatever, they've won 8 out of 9, something like that. So like they're obviously legit. I mean, Caleb Williams has said like the end of games has just looked like phenomenal. He's a completely different quarterback from the other 3 quarters of the game. Like, but that's just it. he'll make the big throw like the NFL throw, big arm throw, and then the next two like will hit the defensive player like right off the shoulder pad, like he'll overthrow, like not the most accurate quarterback. So I feel like that's where it's going to get them. Is you can't make those kind of mistakes against a team like Philadelphia. I do feel like Chicago is legit, and again with Philadelphia's offense for the most part kind of struggling. I think it'll be a close game, but I feel like Chicago's got a bunch of young players and guys that haven't been there before, and Philadelphia's I feel like is still one of the top 2 or 3 NFC teams, top 3 or 4 or 5 NFL teams, even though they really haven't looked like a top team for the most part. Look like they're kind of coasting. I said, but I just feel like they're on a different level, and it's in Philadelphia, and so I feel I like the Eagles.
All right. So Friday, that's all.
Chicago's defense hasn't been that great either. So like you kind of touched on it. We talked again. Like it's probably cut out.
Yeah.
But with Saquon Barkley though, I said with the
only if we had a Sabi.
if we had a couple losses though, and even I think it was the Detroit game where it's a similar stat line for Barkley, but it's just like I feel like they figure that out and they make it a point to have him give him the rock 20, 25 times, and also like more out of the backfield, getting Barkley more involved. So,
all right. So there's your Thursday and Friday. Now we move over to Sunday, first noon game. Niners at Browns.
49ers.
Yeah, nobody's taking
Myles Garrett probably gets another 1 or 2 sacks he might not in this game because of the West Coast offense getting the ball out fast and how they play football. But after watching them last night on Monday Night Football, there's obviously opportunities to get sacks from Myles Garrett. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another 1 or 2 in this game.
How many think he'll have total for the season? Do you think he'll hit 25?
Yeah, I think unless something detrimental happens, down the stretch they don't really have any world breakers left on their schedule here. They play the Bengals again, but that Bengals offensive line is not good when they play them, so he might break it against a divisional
26,
opponent.
27?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Man.
I don't know. The pace is on is crazy.
I fucking hate to say it, but I think he'll break the sack record. Bearing an injury or like Tanya Harding having a bet out, sending somebody out to like take his kneecaps out. I think he's probably got the sack record. So.
Yeah, I think he gets a
Tanya
sack
Harding
record
reference.
Sure.
Oh, that's hilarious. Kids aren't old enough to understand that joke. Oh my God, that threw me. Okay, so Jags at Titans.
I'm in the Jags. Cam Ward needs help. You go back and watch. I watched some of the game when they played last week against the Seahawks. Cam Ward is making NFL caliber throws, but he's making them to non-NFL caliber guys, so to say. And you got to think one of the Titans' touchdown was on a kickoff return. So good for them, but I think the Jags roll on this one. Trevor Lawrence might have another Jameis Winston type stat day for 3 for 3. So I think the Jags get it done though. Titans suck. Titans are ready for the season to be over. They're ready to start the draft process.
Yeah. So obviously, like I said, we both picked the 49ers, and then I said I'll also pick the Jags.
Yeah.
Just because, Titans. What do they have to hang their hat on? They're fighting for like the number 1.
Yeah, they're fighting for the first overall pick.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Jacksonville's on that cusp, but here's one of their few gimme games the rest of the year. They don't have a lot of easy games left at the end of the year. I feel like they're balanced enough, and Jacksonville.
I need a little horn that is a siren for the upset alert, because the next game is that Texans at Colts game. And especially after watching Texans take down
the
Buffalo
Bills the way they
and
did.
Chiefs get the win over the Indy.
Colts playing the way they did in that second half. Early on in that game, the Colts looked like they were just going to roll over the Chiefs. They made everything look easy, but then the second quarter they came out, and I think they had 2 total first downs in the second half. So, crazy day for the Colts offense getting shut down, and then the Texans defense coming out and terrorizing Josh Allen the way they did. But I think the Colts drop back and they get more back to basics. I think Jonathan Taylor will find the creases. This being a divisional game, they know they have an idea what they're going to do, an idea what they're going to look like. So I think Jonathan Taylor will get back rolling. Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren will step up, have bigger roles in this game, and that Colts defense will be able to stop the Texans. Offense, C.J. Stroud questionable to return this week. More than likely going to happen, unless what do you call it? He gets pushed back in his concussion protocol / shoulder injury. So
Well, that puts the Colts up to a 9-3. I mean,
Yeah.
that gets them closer and closer to locking that in.
very much so.
What about you, Twitch?
Yeah, I kept going back and forth, but like after picking them 3 different times this year on the upset alert, and then it hitting, and then the one time I didn't. I glad I didn't, but it was the Denver. I almost picked him in that Denver game, but
Game was close too. It came down to the last second.
and we
field goal.
talked about it last week. For those who listen to the podcast, I was tempted to pick him last week against the Bills for the upset, and I didn't, and we saw how that ended. So I'm not going to be foolish 2 times in a row. I mean,
Fool me once, shame
it's hard
on
to
you.
believe the Colts, who started off the year as the hottest team at 7-1, that they lose 3 out of 4 and lose 2 in a row. It's in Indy. Like, obviously, they're very balanced. They're very good. Even against Kansas City last week, we're completely dominating the game 20-9 with 52 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm with you. Number one, divisional games are always down to the wire, and I'm just a believer. I mean, the Texans defense has 31 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. We're not even all the way through this season, obviously. That's just interceptions. That's not takeaways. On top of sacks, allowing 16 points a game and less than 300 yards total a game. About 260 a game, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
significantly, leading, even over Denver. And to me, they're 1A and 1B. Like, Seattle's up there. The Rams have a good defense, obviously. Cleveland, but for points. But just like I said, we've talked about it. I feel like it's a close game, and the hotter team obviously over the last month's been Houston, and I feel like they're just more physical. I feel like even us, obviously, which I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but I'm a pessimist. But that's how Pittsburgh beat them, was got the turnovers and we were more physical. Kansas City was more physical down the stretch. That's why they had the 3 and outs, they pushing the line off the ball. That's how they were able to hold Taylor. So I just feel like you're playing right into Houston's wheelhouse and their defense with that. And so I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a good game, but give me the Texans too. I couldn't pick. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win, but I'm just
Couldn't pick against.
I
them
couldn't
again.
pick against the Texans. It's kind of like the Seahawks last week. It's like I'm just all over them the last couple of weeks. I'm just like, man, I have a hard time picking against. Because I might be a little fan bias there, but I really want to see Houston. I think Houston figures a way to get it done.
Well, of the 7 noon games on Sunday, that's the one that I feel like is the one to watch.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah,
for sure.
because you have the Saints in Miami playing the Fins.
Give me
Couldn't
the,
care less. The Couldn't Care Less Bowl.
Yeah.
The Ricky Williams Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Devin
good
Neal.
call. Yeah.
Devin Neal starting at running back for the Saints, so that's a fun little stat if you're a KU fan getting to watch Devin Neal start. But I think the Dolphins get it done coming off the bye. Obviously, have had time to prepare for this game across the board. Dolphins, kind of ended on that. They ended that, and going into the bye, they were on that 2-win streak, so kind of righting the ship, so to say, or getting some wins under their belt. Getting some guys back healthy will be good for them. I think the Dolphins' offense is just better than the Saints' defense. Not really much to say.
Ricky Williams Bowl.
Right.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
I love Ricky Williams. That was one of the ones actually last week when we after the podcast talking about. I forgot to man, I forgot all about Ricky Williams. But I have the Dolphins as well. I feel like obviously their season's been kind of a wash. But having that win against Buffalo and come back with another win, couple back-to-back wins, and having the bye and playing a really bad Saints team at home, give me the Dolphins. I feel like they have enough offense. I feel like this will probably be one of the last, at least the last year in Miami that Tua starts. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I feel like he makes just enough plays to beat a Spencer Rattler. So or whatever.
It's
that
Tyler
was.
Schlaw.
Tyler-
No.
yeah.
But same concept.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara's out. So
Yeah, that too.
All right. So then Falcons at Jets.
shootout incoming. Very possible with how the Falcons have played. I have the Falcons winning this one, though. It's kind of like, I don't even know. There's so many analogies you could pick. It's like picking your favorite nail to step on. Give me the Falcons, I guess.
Who's your hottest cousin?
Yeah. I'm not going to answer that because we're fans. You know the right answer, though. That's weird. Anyway.
That's how we get. That's how all 16 of our followers get to Kansas.
This is a Kansas podcast, not a...
This isn't
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yeah. Great, they went to Arkansas market. So, I have the Falcons. And I hear what you're saying though, because like every time you never know what to pick of the Falcons or make of the Falcons. But again, and the Jets have, for what people don't realize, like for most of their games, kind of like the Giants, have actually been competitive in most of their games. So it could be a lot closer than what people think. And it's not like the Falcons are a great team. I feel like they have enough offense and Kirk Cousins and veteran leadership.
Kirk Chains will get it done.
I feel like that's the correct answer.
Yeah, I don't even.
And then we have the Rams obliterating the Panthers, I think, for the next game.
Yeah, I feel like another game that could definitely be a little bit closer than you expect with it being in Carolina, and it's a new game. So you always have to think time difference, West Coast to East Coast. But with the way the Carolina Panthers looked last week against the 49ers defense, who obviously with some hurt guys is kind of a step below the Rams defense.
Yeah.
And we look how the Rams defense completely obliterated the Buccaneers. I think the Rams win this one. I think Matthew Stafford has another 3 touchdowns. Devontae Adams gets another 1-yard touchdown.
Send me those Panthers memes.
Yeah, definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chiefs will be back on top, so maybe you should make your own and send it to me to remind me
Yeah.
that Chiefs are still better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
Good point.
No, I've got the Rams. Panthers again have been another feel-good story, and I feel like they had their chances even against San Francisco, but Rams are even over them are a whole different animal. And the Rams, whooping up on San Francisco a couple weeks ago, kind of getting revenge for one of their early losses, and so I don't even see this. Is that a 3:00 game?
Yeah, no, that's a noon
That's
game.
our last.
That's a new one.
Yeah, all the games at noon suck except for
But
the
that's
Texans
again.
Colts.
But obviously, last week it didn't matter. But I was like, I always come back to a lot of times weird things can happen in between a West Coast team, what would be 10 o'clock their time, playing a 1 o'clock or noon game our time, like playing the early slot. But I feel like the Rams are built. They're disciplined enough. Their leadership with Stafford playing at least obviously you don't really. I haven't heard his name a lot up until the last couple of weeks, and we've mentioned him, but it hasn't been our favorite. But if he finishes off the season on this kind of pace, I don't know how he's not one of the absolute front runners in Matthew Stafford for the stat lines he's putting up. But too much Devontae Adams, too much on offense, and I feel like they shut down Carolina's offense.
Explosive
and-
offense.
I shouldn't say that that's the Texans Colts game is the only one that doesn't suck, because the last one up here is got some playoff implications. I think maybe in there, and that's Arizona Cardinals rolling down to Florida and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think that's a big game for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, very much so, especially with the questionable Baker Mayfield.
Question.
Yeah, they say he said he wants to play. He thinks he's going to play, but if I'm the Buccaneers, it's the Cardinals, guys. If you don't think Teddy Bridgewater can beat him, maybe you should reevaluate how your defense and offense looks. I'm not gonna say that quite yet, but I got the Bucs winning it in this one, no matter if Baker does play or Bridgewater. Jacoby Brissett attempted another 47 passes last week, so I mean they're just slinging the rock down there, and the Buccaneers' pass defense has been decent when they're not playing the Rams. I mean they've been able to hold some guys down, and Emeka Egbuka last week had 0 receptions.
Nice pronunciation.
Yeah, and I've been working on getting on my fantasy team. I've been talking mad shit on with him all year. But I mean, he gets shut down last night, or shut down Sunday night. So I think they get him the ball more. Godwin's coming back. He's played, I think, 35 snaps the week before, so he's going to get back into it. But I think the Bucs get it done. The Cardinals will make it interesting because Jacoby Brissett's going to throw the ball another 50 times. So his arm might fall off after the season. Who knows?
Yeah. I've got the Bucs either way. I mean, Cardinals, with Brissett, 3 different times they've been super competitive, had their chances in overtime, beating a decent Jacksonville team. Brissett's played pretty well. But even so, Teddy Bridgewater's a seasoned vet, and I just feel like Tampa Bay knows that they need it. They're still leading the division, and I feel like it being in Tampa, I feel like they still get it done. They have enough places, like you said, enough pieces like Egbuka and guys like that to. I like Tampa regardless. I just feel like
Okay. Shout out to Teddy. So, moving into now, finally, 3 o'clock game, 3:05. We have the Vikings rolling up to Seattle playing the Seahawks.
Yeah, this game, if J.J. McCarthy wasn't playing. Fun little stat here. J.J. McCarthy had a 35 point, or he had like a mid-30s QBR. And if you spike the ball every time you try to attempt a pass for the game, you'd get a 39 QBR. So he had a less than spike the ball into the ground every snap QBR from last week, which kind of takes it back. Not trying to steal from Peyton Manning, but Eli Manning somehow had a 0 QBR in one of his games, so it kind of makes you wonder like everything must have went wrong. But yeah, that was J.J. McCarthy is not who they thought he was going to be, and I don't know if he hasn't played a lot of football if you think about in the last 2 years. Like, he got hurt, and then he obviously didn't play full games there at Michigan because they were blowing teams out so much when they won the Natty. So I'm interested to see what happens this offseason there. They're definitely going to bring in another quarterback that could start for sure. You know, a guy like Mac Jones maybe, or somebody like that who's going to be released or out there looking for a starting job, or maybe a Tua, because, Kevin O'Connell's been the QB whisperer so far. Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins revived his career. Daniel Jones was there after he got cut last year. Sam Darnold obviously has him fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC last year, and then they lose to the Lions the way they did. But I still have faith in McCarthy. I don't know if he'll ever catch on there in Minnesota with the season he's having, especially with the weapons he's throwing into, like Jordan Addison and Adam Thielen and Jay Jettis and T-Hawk and Madison out of the backfield. Like, he has weapons everywhere, and they're just QB is really what they're missing right now. With that being said, the Seahawks roll and beat the Titans last week. Game was a little bit, I'm going to say closer. Obviously the Seahawks were going to win no matter what, but it was closer than I thought it was going to be. But I think the Seahawks roll on this one. Jackson Smith-Njigba, another 110 yards and a touchdown. It's been consistent across the board, but I like the Seahawks in this one for sure. I'm interested to see what the Vikings will do for sure. They're one of my most interesting teams looking forward to the offseason.
Yeah. I would have thought the Vikings would have been a little more competitive. They had their chances, obviously, getting that big win against the Lions 3 or 4 weeks ago. But been kind of up and down, especially on offense, turning the ball over a lot. And this is another one of those defenses like Houston or Denver, where Seattle's in the upper third of takeaways, and they're a fast, aggressive defense. It's in Seattle, and to me, like I said, even over the Eagles, over the last month and a half, in my eyes, just at least by the eye test, the 2 best NFC teams have been both teams from the West. It's been the Seahawks and the Rams. Seahawks sitting at 8-3, got a chance at home, have a good balance. Minnesota's at times had a hard time stopping the run. Kenneth Walker's a top 10 running back. And then he said you got Njigba, who's automatic. It seems like he's one of those guys, he's good for 8 and a $110 and probably a touchdown at least. And then have Cooper Kupp, Snead's third game in there, the wide receiver. They're too much. They're too balanced. I think Minnesota doesn't have the guy to stop all 3 of those guys. I'm a McCarthy. I'm not a big McCarthy believer, but he's shown flashes. But his biggest thing so far is, and it's basically his rookie year, so it's kind of to be expected a little bit. Get a little bit of rope. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like he's going to make 2 or 3 turnovers, and Seattle's got that opportunistic defense, and it's in Seattle, and yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, not to talk too much about the Vikings, but if you went back and watch the film, you could see McCarthy, you could almost see him going through his reads, which in the NFL you can usually, you see guys turn their shoulders a little bit, but McCarthy's pausing and looking, then moves, pause and looks. That's not NFL speed yet, so I think McConnell will get him right. Or revives Tua's career.
So at 325, is there any way in the world we could get some help from the Raiders at the Chargers?
No, Genty's probably out this week with a high ankle sprain. Maybe there'll be a spark with whoever their offensive coordinator is now. But I think the Chargers get it done. Chargers coming off a bye week, obviously, division rival. So I don't. The Chargers have to, or not the Chargers, the Raiders have to be one of the biggest letdowns of the season. Yeah. Just because how explosive the offense was supposed to look, and now you look at where they're at now, and you're like...
Well, I never thought it'd be explosive, but it's just the fact that you thought Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, you thought that, okay, they'll carry him to some close games, you know what I mean, like teams that, that aren't juggernauts, those 50-50 games, but... No, I feel like it's the Chargers all the way. They've been a lot more consistent
the
last couple games, and coming off a bye... and I feel like there's too much offense. Like the first time they played, the Chargers moved the ball up and down the first half on that Monday night game. I think it was week 2, week 3, one of the two.
It would be great though if the Raiders got this. This helps the Chiefs out.
I don't think
Big time.
so. I don't
Yeah,
think so, though. I feel like
Put that on my wish list.
the Raiders defense, especially
This is
really strong.
LSV's upset alert of the week.
Well,
Wishful thinking of the week.
as bad as the Raiders defense, and I like Max Crosby, but as bad as the Raiders defense is like the last month, I just feel like Herbert makes enough plays, and they're the better team.
Well, with that being said, I'd never say go Raiders, but I mean, I hope the Raiders do
Don't
something
put that out in
crazy.
the universe.
Yeah,
It's
I hope
almost
the
as
Raiders
bad
do
as-
something crazy.
It's almost as bad as Twitch picking against the Steelers. It's
Which,
same concept.
well, speaking of Twitch picking against the Steelers, that's the other 325 game. We do have the Bills going to Pittsburgh and playing the Steelers. I'll let you start that one off, Twitch.
6-5 on the year picking Steeler games, the same record as the Steelers. No,
That's
but
true.
yeah, and as much shit as you give me, I said like, how often have I been wrong about the Steelers though? And so, I don't. It's just, I don't know what Pittsburgh has to hang their hat on. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, potentially coming back, he was a late game scratch, and so he was all the way up until they had to make that call an hour and a half before game time Sunday. I think he'll push to play. Pittsburgh, obviously has a couple wins this year against the Colts and the Patriots. And they said, for the most part, I said one thing. Well, we'll get to that in the state of segment. I saw some good things the first half on offense, and I said I know that Buffalo, against Atlanta and Miami, and last week against Houston, which Houston's a different monster because of the defense. But Buffalo's been obviously struggled over the last month, losing 3 out of 5 or whatever it's been. But I just feel like our defense has been inconsistent and all but I'd have to do the math, I didn't look before, but all about 2 or 3 games, we've given up at least 30 points, and I feel like Josh Allen's just going to shred us. So I don't think it's going to. Again, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I don't feel like our offense. We could play a heck of a game. We could have 6 sacks against Josh Allen. Josh Allen's still going to get 3 or 4 touchdown drives, and I don't trust our offense to get that many total in the game. And Buffalo needs it. Buffalo, I still feel, has a legitimate shot to make a run in the playoffs, even if it is a wild card now. They're just. I'm just going to be frank. I think Buffalo is a better team than Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Buffalo.
especially with DK being questionable with his ankles. I mean, he'll play, but it depends on how much. Because last week he was in and out of the lineup. So, have the Bills get it done in this way too. I mean, obviously the Texans defense terrorized him last week, and I think the Steelers defense has enough potential to do that, but I don't think they can do it as consistently, and they don't have nothing against, Cam Hayward and TJ and Highsmith, like the guys they have edge rushing, but they're not Will Anderson and Hunter, who are both more of the athletic type outside edge rushers, especially Will Anderson. I mean, there's a reason the Texans traded up for him in the draft, because he was a guy that could catch a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen rolling out of the pocket the way he did.
Right.
So I think Buffalo gets it done. I don't know. I'm interested to see how the Steelers look, especially, I haven't watched very many Steelers games this year because I haven't needed to, because I have my Steelers expert here, so he gives me all the takes I need. So I'm very interested to see how it works out. I think the Bills get it done. I think they bounce back after being embarrassed on Thursday night.
Well, I think there's big implications of what comes out of that game.
Let's say
for
that was
sure.
the other one out of. First of all, the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest 3 o'clock time
Yeah, very
slot
much
game.
so.
And then one of a couple games on Sunday, like top 2 or 3 on Sunday. But just because, as we've mentioned before, and we finish off the week with kind of a bland week in my eyes as far as schedule.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of-
Thursday is definitely your football watching day,
Yeah.
and then if you miss something on Sunday, you're like, we'd better be around for the Sunday night
But
football
I guess
game.
I just the way the Bills, I still feel like they're obviously again that Buffalo still has that opportunity.
Yeah.
But Buffalo still look what they've looked like the last couple of weeks, and we're not gonna make any run on anything. So that's the only reason I knocked that game down.
Well, we'll get more into that in the state of the Steelers, obviously. But we do take you into the Sunday night football game. Broncos coming off of a bye. Offensively, I don't think looking like a powerhouse, but they are getting the wins. That's the end of the day. That's all you really care about is the win-loss column. But they're traveling out there and they're playing the Commanders.
Yeah, playing the Commanders out there. I think I obviously have the Broncos in this one. This game early on, and like when the schedule was released, I was like, "This is one you have to circle," because it was going to be Jalen Daniels versus Bo Nix, obviously the top two contenders for Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. So I was excited for this one, but with Daniels being out and the Commanders' offense kind of turning into what it's turned into, I think the Broncos get it done. I think our defense will be able to keep that Commanders' offense, under wraps. It's just if our offense can come out and play, because that Commanders' defense is still a good defense, even with missing a couple pieces. This is a chance for our offense to get rolling again, because then we play the Raiders, then we play the Chiefs again. So.
Well, when I went out to Colorado to see Bone this summer, I mean, that was one of those circle games when we look at the schedule.
Yeah.
It's like one of those games that you look at down that stretch that's a game on the road that you're thinking, that might be one of those 3/4 of the season L's that you look at, and I was like, I think we're in a much better position now with Daniels out.
If our offense can come out and handle business, I'm not worried about it. But if our offense looks like we have against the Jets or looked against like the Raiders, then it could be a problem, because Mariota is a suitable backup who can move the ball down the field. Because even if he's throwing the ball to himself, but throwing him and Zach Ertz are connecting 10 times, you still have to be worried about it. So I hope our offense comes in after bye week. Hopefully Peyton had some. I don't even know what Peyton would do. He went to a Kenny Chesney concert and got blackout drunk, come up with some new plays that weren't screenplays. So whatever Peyton, Sean, you were up to, hope it was not drawing up more screen passes, buddy.
There you go.
Give me Denver. Backup quarterback, Commander season pretty much already done. Denver being one of the top 2 or 3 hottest teams. Like, you're tied for first as far as like hottest teams in the NFL. Coming off a bye, big win over Kansas City, and I feel like Washington's defense hasn't been, ever since Warner was out, Wagner. Sorry, not Warner. Give me Denver.
Well, you can take the night off on Monday, because there's nobody on the planet that's taking the Giants over the Patriots at home. Patriots are 10-2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even if Jameis went, Jackson Dart's back.
Giants almost beat the Lions. They've played a bunch of teams close all year. Broncos being one of them.
So do you want me to pencil you in for the Giants?
Pick the 9 straight Patriots.
Yeah, give me the Patriots as well. Patriots are the hottest team in the league right now. We just talked about Broncos being the second. Patriots are the hottest team in the league. Obviously, offensive line will come back to haunt them probably at some point this year, with 3 starters being down, or at least injured and banged up, which everybody's banged up at this point, but having three of your guys out is going to be interesting to see how Vrabel handles that. I don't think it's going to matter against the Giants, so to say. Obviously, they still have Sexy Dexy and Thorough Ducks, and they have edge rushers. Abdul Carter's still there. So it'll be interesting to see how the Patriots' offense reacts, but I think their defense and their I don't know what their mantra is yet, because Vrabel's been very close to chest about how operations in the building go, kind of like Belichick. But Patriots kind of seem back to the do your job Bill Belichick motto of just do what you're responsible for, and everybody else will take care of their own. And they're kind of just mistake-free football. They don't hurt themselves. They don't hurt themselves with penalties, bad turnovers.
And good for Vrabel, man. I've always loved Vrabel.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a short
I think he got
stint there
shafted there in Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I loved him when he came over and played with the Chiefs. Was sad to see him leave the Titans the way he did.
Yeah.
And
you know where he started? I didn't play that game.
Pittsburgh. The only good thing you have to say about the Steelers. No, so this is great for him. I'm excited, not for the Patriots as a team, but I am happy for Mike Vrabel that their season. He's rebuilt that team, and who would have thought that they're 10-2 at this point?
This
that's
point
just crazy.
Yeah, Box and I both had them as a fringe playoff team, because we're big Vrabel believers, and that 2 or 3 year stint when Tannehill and some of the guys they had back then on offense. You kind of already, you and I have talked about this the last month or whatever with all this part of this winning streak, so you kind of took the words out of my mouth. But just the fact of, we've talked about it with just the old Patriots.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing, they're not putting up gaudy or flashy numbers. It's just kind of this guy has 3 catches, it's by committee. This guy's got 2 catches for, this guy made 1 big play, this guy, they they don't beat themselves. And it's funny because I even told a friend last week that we were talking about our picks because him and I will also do a separate like side pick, and he actually had Cincinnati, but I was just like, that's the thing about the Patriots for so long, and Drake May's not Tom Brady, but the Patriots typically, other than maybe that annual Miami trip every other year,
Yeah.
they don't lose those kind of games. They most of the time they beat the teams that are like the teams that were the upper echelon, like the Steelers or the Ravens or the Chiefs now. Like most of the time the Patriots would still win those games. But what made their record so damn good was like they don't have they don't lose those types of games typically. Those gimme games where you're the better team, they show up ready to play. They don't beat themselves. They're just a solid football team. So they're for real. They're here to stay. So I think they can be beaten. I don't think they'll go to the Super Bowl just because of the offensive pieces. Like you said, the injuries on the offensive line, but way ahead of schedule as far as like the turnaround and Mike Vrabel bringing that culture, coming out from under the shadow of like the dynasty and being part of that Patriots team, like being a role player like that. You know, that he was obviously instrumental as far as like this tough, hard blue collar player from Pittsburgh to New England to Kansas City, and so like bringing that from those early 2000 Patriots teams to this Patriots team. I feel like at the end, I don't know. That's just it. There could be a team that has more talent, like especially in if they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's the case. But like a Seattle or the Rams or something. But you can't beat yourself. That's just it. Like they don't have the most athletic guys. They don't beat themselves. They're not.
So I will throw out there this, and I'm going to let you read off the box scores here, box. One of the things that precipitated this relationship, I'm throwing out some big words. One of the things that precipitated this relationship for this podcast was I said, Twitch and I have done like a Pick'ems league for, I don't know, it seems like it's been 20 years we do a Pick'ems league. But Box, why don't you tell us where we're at with our win-loss predictions here?
The Twitch himself, 127, 49, and 1. I am 107, 69, nice, and 1. So
Go ahead and tell me. I'm not even that boastful, but go ahead and tell me last week. 12 and 2 again for the week.
Twitch went 12 and 2 last week. Picked perfectly all the way to Sunday until the Eagles-Cowboys game.
Yeah, I went 11 and 1 on Sunday.
Yeah, 11 and 1.
Yeah, so nothing else. Tune in just to get your Pick'ems in there.
Yeah.
Sixth straight week. I believe it's the sixth straight week, maybe seventh, but at least sixth straight week. I've had at least 10 games picked for the week.
Yep. Twitch is kicking my ass. Another 9-5 week. Finn 7-7 last week. We're at 500. So
There you go.
yeah, Finn obviously picked some crazy games in there. He picked the Raiders. So some of the other ones
hope
make
the Raiders
sense.
pull it this week.
Some of the other picks he had made sense, but the Raiders but not bad for.
All right, so let's hop in there to the last segment. We're going to do a state of the Broncos, Steelers, Chiefs. We don't have my man Sean out here tonight for the state of the Colts. And I don't think that that's because of the loss. He said he was feeling a little under the weather, but he did say he would come back at it because I think they're going to be a relevant conversation down the road. Said I definitely want to come out there and be a part of it. So excited to have Sean come out here. I'll do the state of the Colts. But so where are you at with the state of the Broncos coming off a bye and knowing what's ahead of you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so state of the Broncos this week. Obviously, coming off a bye, we entered the bye on a hot streak. We beat the Chiefs, which was nice. It's kind of our exclamation point for the season.
For sure.
Obviously, got that huge win over Greg there.
It wasn't over me.
So excited for
I wasn't
Christmas.
on
Nah, it was over you. It was personal. I wrote Sean Payton a handwritten letter that said, "Hey man, I need this, please." But I'm excited for the Sunday Night Football game. It's a chance for us to show the league and show the fans that we're a legit team on both offense and defense coming off the bye, especially a down Commanders team. And then we have a stretch. Our games coming up are easily winnable games. So I'm excited for them to get right against the Commanders. Hopefully our offense clicks a little bit. No more screen passes. Hopefully Sean Payton went to a Kenny Chesney concert over break. You know, that's kind of what he does in his off time and his free time. So hopefully Kenny got him right for this playoff run we're going to make here and our Super Bowl run we're going to make down the stretch here. But I'm excited to coming off the bye. obviously, still not having a R.J. Harvey, not having a true RB1. Missed out on Damian Pierce, who got signed by Kansas State practice squad. So I think Harvey, and we can do it by committee for the season, but I think this will kind of be at the end of the year recap we do after the Super Bowl, but I think one thing on the Broncos' agenda is to find either a third running back or find another wide receiver, another guy we can get the ball to. But I'm excited for this run we're going to go on here coming off the bye. Hopefully everybody's getting healthy. Singleton will be back after his testicular surgery, so after his cancer that they found. So I'm excited for that. I think excited to have when we do our Pro Bowl picks that we're going to do here in a couple weeks, who we think be Pro Bowl players. Excited to have a couple Broncos on there. So, but that's the state of the Broncos. Going to get the win of the Commanders. Going to lock up the AFC West, and Christmas will be great.
Christmas is not going to be great.
Christmas is going to be a blast.
I'm going to be out there I told Big Will, I said, I'm going to try to order a pair of Broncos boxers, so when I have to pay off my bet, in my boxers with the homemade sign at Arrowhead, looking like a homeless fool out there. So the sign is still to be determined.
Any ideas? Drop them in the comments below.
Don't drop them below.
We have some crazy ones so far. We'll obviously put up a Twitter poll here coming up when we get some good ideas.
It's a good idea.
But we're excited. I'm excited for sure. I don't know. LFV's excited. I know Twitch is excited to see his uncle out there with a goofy sign.
Not in his underwear.
Yeah.
Pause. Or on pause. I have socks on. It's okay. But Twitch, what's the state of the Steelers over there?
I got nothing. No, I mean, 6-5. I mean, obviously tied to the same record as the Ravens, but due to tiebreak, which is funny because I saw them eventually catching up with us. And I knew they had the same record, but it wasn't until the 3 o'clock games when I saw the graphic. I'm like, oh, they actually already jumped us because of a tiebreak. I don't even know what, probably a conference or interdivisional record or what. But, I mean, obviously you're still tied for the same record. They still have an opportunity. Again, I'm a diehard fan for life, but I'm just being real. I'm being a pessimist, but I'm just next 3 out of 4 games. I mean, you got Buffalo this week at home. That's a big game. Like I said, hopefully you get Rodgers back. Rudolph was serviceable, but couldn't make the plays down the end. And then after that, we play in Baltimore the week after this. Then we get hopefully we can finally win a primetime game this year after the stinkers we put up with the Bengals, Packers, and Chargers. So then we play the Dolphins. And then after that, in 4 weeks, we play at Detroit. So we've got Detroit, Baltimore, and Buffalo all coming up. So definitely need to try to take care of business at home. Pittsburgh, for the most part, has played better at home this year. A couple of things I did actually like. Jaylen Warren continues to be that guy for Pittsburgh, being one consistent piece. This seems like every week he's putting up at least 120, and more often than not a touchdown. Just when he's healthy, it's just because what he adds out of the backfield and just refusal to go down. He's one of my favorite players to watch for us. And then really, I know Kenneth Gainwell, when Warren was out early in the year and we beat the Patriots and the Vikings, Gainwell just doesn't have that like overly elusive speed, but he also doesn't have he's not the bruiser back either. So it's just but he gets first down, he makes big plays. I'm just a lot better than what I thought and what I think probably what even Pittsburgh planned on. So that being said, Gainwell had a couple really nice runs, had a pretty good game on Sunday against the Bears. So I feel like that needs to continue, especially like you said, whether DK plays or not. We're 11 games into the season. We don't have a number 2 receiver, and again, the tight ends disappeared last week. So that could have had to do with the philosophy, and like I said, it was 28-31 in a close game. So some of that had to do with our philosophy and not be able to get the defense off the ball the second half. I don't really know what else to say other than, like I said,
Darnell Washington with another great clip. He pulled across and completely decleated, 10-toed a guy.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to watch him play. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they get him more involved in the offense, but I think he definitely needs to play a bigger role.
Yeah.
The guy's a freak of nature.
Oh, yeah.
6'8", 300. He came out on the St. Brown podcast. I don't know what it's called, but St. Brown podcast. There's how much do you weigh? You're listed at 250.
Right, which most people don't tell the truth. They don't give an answer.
Yeah, and he was 311.
Yeah.
So that's an offensive tackle you have playing tight end who's just wrecking guys. So
yeah.
They
No,
definitely.
it's a big win. If Pittsburgh, and I said this is why, is because I just feel like Houston and Kansas City down the stretch I trust more than us. With not even for the fact of our offense, but just the fact of who we play and our strength of schedule. So again, we play better at home, and big game against the Ravens next week. You don't want to. I mean, you don't want to lose any to Baltimore. You hope that we can at least split with them, but you definitely don't want to go into Baltimore down a game and lose that one, then be down 2 with the tiebreaker with them. So I feel like this is a huge game for Pittsburgh. Like I said, again, hopefully Rodgers comes back and
So on Thanksgiving, will you be wearing a Joe Burrow jersey?
no, a Burrow jersey. No,
If the Bengals get that win on Thanksgiving on the night game,
Finn's not here to bet. I ain't betting. I ain't wearing fucking bet. You know how hard it is each Christmas and birthday to have to like spend my hard-earned money on Bengal shit.
So what is
but
this?
but if the Bengals get that win Thursday night, I mean that gives you a little breathing room to say, okay, how big is that win? Which you didn't pick over the Bills, but I mean those two games,
Yeah.
a Bengals win and a Steelers win, is a catalyst for your
But-
playoff picture.
Yeah, that's. I mean, but
But
you're still
you
looking
didn't,
at
but
6
you
and
didn't pick either one of those.
six. But that's just it. And not only that, but then you're looking at 6 and 6 and 7 and 5. But then I feel like I'm gonna give enough confidence in my team and the magnetic energy towards 10 and 8 or 9 and 8 and 10 and 7. Like I'm gonna give them the benefit because other than the last 2 games last year, like the playoff game and the last game, like the last regular season game, Pittsburgh's actually pretty much owned Baltimore over the last 5 or 6 years. Baltimore's the better team, but what I'm saying is like, I feel like we'll split with Baltimore, but Baltimore's probably going to beat us next week. So I feel like that makes this Buffalo game that much more important. And they said that again, it's not even the fact of like trying to hate on my team. It's just like they've been so inconsistent, and they don't really have a strength to hang their hat on. And with their strength of schedule, I just can't see them. You know, with the Chargers up a game, the Bills up a game, probably gonna go up by 2 games and a tiebreaker over Pittsburgh. Those are the head-to-head tiebreakers. So I said they already have that loss to the Chargers, and as far as you know, if it comes down to a tiebreaker playoff spot there, so you don't want to have that situation against the Bills. I know you're thinking, well, why not just win the division? But I don't think that's it. But I mean, you have all these teams we talked about already: the Chargers, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Steelers. Those are the teams that are going to be fighting that have 5-6 losses that are within the realistic shot of taking those last 3 wild card spots.
Well, as you being my nephew for your whole entire life,
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I've ever tuned in to watch Pittsburgh, because I mean that's not my team, obviously, and we went to a playoff game right there before Patrick Mahomes took over the reins,
2016.
and you wearing your Bumblebee jersey, going down the corridor at GEHA Stadium.
Did I wear
Yeah,
my
you
Bumblebee
wore
crown?
or you wore a cape or something because you had to go out there in the
I wore
parking
my
lot.
flag as a cape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I wear my Bumblebee or did I wear my bin? I can't remember. I think I wore my bin.
So I mean, so I always get excited for you because I know how much you absolutely love the Steelers. No matter what it sounds like on the podcast, you are a diehard Steelers fan, and you're just speaking the truth of what you see happening from week to week, just to keep it honest. And so, I hope a couple things go your way this week for Thanksgiving. I hope that the Bengals pull up a crazy upset. I
I'd
hope
be
the
okay with
Steelers
that,
get
yeah.
an upset against the Bills. I'm not going to be upset about the Bills getting knocked down. Going into the state of the Chiefs, this was it. I was this big old race to 10 wins and stuff like that. And right now, I said that the Chiefs would probably drop one either to the Colts or the Cowboys. Glad to get the win at home, but I'm more nervous about the short week traveling on the road, playing a high caliber offense where you have some wide receiver weapons. And Dak Prescott, he was one of my crazy offensive players of the week, so he can get it done at home on Thanksgiving on an afternoon game. I can see that happening. So the state of the Chiefs for me is, if they get this, I don't think you have room to breathe, but at least you know a little bit more about where some of those other teams are sitting. And you look at the games ahead, take it 1 week at a time, because like you mentioned earlier, The next week, it's another primetime game, and we play Houston on Sunday night. And Houston has been wrecking teams. So I feel like hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt, give him those 30 carries. I like seeing Patrick Mahomes to some extent taking the ball in his own hand and making the plays when he needs to make them. That doesn't make me happy necessarily. That he's not confident in some of the other things downfield, but I think we're still in that same situation. I think I said 2 weeks ago that I feel like we'll be having the same conversation about the state of the Chiefs after Thanksgiving going into Houston, that we're still going to be on the outside looking in, needing some help from some other teams. And we have a handful of division games ahead of us in December. I like how we play in December. I believe in 15. I believe in Andy Reid. I think that those are going to be some great games, and December football in the NFL for the Chiefs is always exciting. So, let's see what happens on Thursday.
Yeah. It'll definitely be a good game for sure. Definitely interested to see how that game pans out, especially for, the Broncos locking up the West, but also just see how Kansas City responds. Because obviously you knock off arguably with one of the hottest teams in the league right now. You hold Jonathan Taylor, who's on a crazy offensive player of the year pace, but you hold him to 60 yards or whatever you held him to, and you shut down that offense. And obviously the Cowboys are more explosive. Pickens is playing like wide receiver 1 right now.
Time of possession. Yeah,
time of possession is really going to be huge. I feel like it's going to be a huge stat in this game. Can the Chiefs drive the ball down the field without mistakes across the board and make the Cowboys, lack of a better term, make the Cowboys sweat it out, especially rolling into, because the Cowboys obviously defense has improved, but it's not what it has been in the past. So I'm excited to see for that one for sure.
And no turnovers. That's it. That first play this last week against the Colts, batted ball, pops up like 20 feet in the air. The guy turns around and just falls in his bread basket. And then, that's how the Chiefs offense starts. So then you have the Kareem Hunt fumble and stuff like that. If we control the clock, eliminate turnovers and penalties, I'm about ready to say, I don't know how long you sit there and you put up with 74 Taylor on the Chiefs, but the number of penalties he's picked up over his career, it wasn't just 1 week or one season. That's frustrating as all get out. So eliminate your penalties, eliminate your turnovers, and control the time of possession. If we can do that, that's football. But, let's go. Thanksgiving's going to be great.
Very much so. Chiefs are plus 550 to win the AFC right now. I'm trying to find the Super Bowl. Man, they already got draft stats up here. Couple college games. Not really a very big college podcast here, college football podcast. But getting here towards the end, where the college football playoffs about to kind of kick off here. This week is a hate week or rivalry week, depending on how you look at it. Couple big games happening. Obviously, Ohio State, Michigan. If you're not busy Saturday at noon, should be tuning into that one. It's always a great game to get into, to watch, just because of the pure hatred. Ohio State hasn't beat them in a while, but it'll be interesting to see. Georgia Tech play should be a good game. Texas A&M and Texas will play. It'll be a good game. Arizona State's always a shootout. There's a huge brawl after that one last year. There's a bunch of brawls last year across the board. Oklahoma LSU will be a good one. Miami Pitt. Clemson and South Carolina will be interesting because neither of those teams are really in the playoff hunt, but just two teams that actually hate each other across the board. So be on the lookout. Not very big. Obviously, Oregon and Washington playing, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, but it'll be good. It's hate week. It's always fun to watch the fights that happen. I know announcers always say, "Oh, you hate to see that." No, we don't. We love to see that, guys. We love the fiery competition. Don't necessarily appreciate Carolina Panthers guys punching Juwan Jennings in the dick, and then Juwan Jennings getting feisty after the game. But obviously, don't really appreciate that one, but it happens, I guess. Did you guys see that? The Panthers guy he was clubbed up. He had a broken wrist or something, and he just undercut John Jennings in the dick. So right. Juwan Jennings fought him after the game. respectfully on the field in front of everybody.
Nice.
But yeah, this exciting weekend for football across the board. Thursday is going to be fun. Friday at 2 p.m. will be fun, I guess. If you're not busy doing whatever Black Friday shopping, get home and
It's
Yeah.
really shopping for everybody.
yeah. I mean, but I mean with Amazon Prime. Shut the fuck.
It's really everybody.
Yeah. Anyways, excited for football across the board this weekend. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving with your families or whatever you do. If you participate in Friendsgivings, I'm going to participate in one. Interested to see how that's going to go down. But appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate Greg for having us out here every week for this podcast. Sorry for a little bit the shorter format this week. Had some technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Had a bunch of good content, a bunch of really good notes, a bunch of Twitch had some good takes. LSV had some good takes. So sorry about the shorter podcast this week, but hope everybody has a great week. Hope all your bets hit if you bet. Hope y'all stay safe. Have fun with your family. Go win your turkey bowl this year.
Yeah.
But appreciate everybody listening. We'll catch you guys next week.